Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Dr. Doujinshi, and welcome back to another episode of Hentai Reviews, the only series on the internet where, just where. This is not the 100 sub special. I'm still working on that. It's gonna be a minute before that comes out. We might be at like 120 by the time I hit that, because I'm an idiot and I don't plan ahead, even though I boast about it constantly. But enough of that. I'll worry about that when it's time. So, today we're going to be jumping back into another series that we started way back in the beginning and back over to what we have right now, which we started the first episode and now we're doing the second episode. Second episode, of course, is from Mankitsu Happening, a series very near and dear to my heart as it was to many of yours. Probably not your heart though, it was probably closer to your junk. The reason this series is so popular is because it is I'd say it's one of the consistently highest viewed across the board, where each one has 4 million plus views apiece just on 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓉𝒶𝒾. I gotta say, that's very impressive. So, today we're going to be looking at episode 2. Ooh, personally a favorite of mine, but you'll see that as I go ahead and describe what's in this. So, starting off with our friends at Collaboration Works being the ones who worked on this. 29 minutes and 23 seconds long. This is a fairly standard across the board with a lot of the stuff, except for the categories, of which there are 19. Very few things in this that you're going to be missing. Most of them are the ones that I made on my little tier list. If you haven't seen that, watch that. It's a good video. Well, and a lot of the ones that aren't here are the ones that I really don't care for, but I'm slowly starting to just force myself into, because gotta expand your content somehow. The notable tags of which are group play in any way that you want to put that, whether it be many girls or just many girls, because this is a harem. Yeah, that's what I'm going to call group play. Women loving women, or as I like to call it, Yuri, the second best form of two people of the same gender getting together. God, I love gay men. And finally, vanilla. Just kidding, it's MILF. It is 100% them lovely ladies who've gained a few years, aged like fine wine. There is vanilla in this, by the way. Just want to let you know, I have not lost my roots. So, this episode starts off with our friends over at Raid Shadow. No, I'm kidding. It starts off with a recap of everything that's happened in the first episode, kind of just a general, like, hey, I got into this job, my lucky pervert powers activate. That's an ability of his previously where he does stuff, and then any female in the general vicinity that's around him somehow will fall into an accident that will lead him in a lewd scenario, in which case he gets laid. And he kind of goes over everything that happens in the first episode with his two co-workers, the purple-haired MILF of the entire group, and then there's the childhood friend, who's a lot more, she looks like the porn star version of Sayori from Doki Doki Literature Club. And how they kind of got together and how he didn't lose his job. Strangely. But nonetheless. Yes. He goes to work again that exact same day. Or not the same day. He goes to work a little bit later, and then runs into a girl who is kind of low-key going. Got the whole hat just kind of like covering up, like I don't want to see anybody. Got the glasses, kind of make yourself look a little bit different. She's cute, blonde hair. Yeah, kind of a punk schoolgirl thing going on. She goes and rents out a booth and goes over to get some soda. And she goes to click, 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 click. This thing won't work. Click, 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 click. He gets a little bit closer, and then boom, explodes all over her, knocking her down onto the floor, while he covers up the rest. So, as a gentleman, he says, hey, can I help you up? And he's like, wait a minute, I've seen you before. You're Britney Spears. No, it's an idol. But yeah, it's pretty close. He then says, fuck, forgive me for being so rude. Can you please stand up so I can help you? And she's like, please don't tell anybody I'm here. I don't want this spot to be taken over by my fans. And he's like, hey, you got a big ego on you, but sure, I won't say anything. Mostly because I'm a good guy. I don't listen to your music, so I probably won't find any of your fans. She's like, you're a dick. None of that happens, but that's what I'm assuming happens in my mind. So, a little bit later, she comes in as per usual because she doesn't want to leave because she really likes the place. It's like that one Starbucks you really like going to, but you don't really want to tell your friends you go there because you're a 37-year-old lumberjack. And drinking Starbucks is weird if you're not a 20-something-year-old female or a gay guy. I don't know why, that's the stereotype. But naturally, she comes in and he's like, shit, I don't want to be associated with her because I don't want her to think I'm weird. So he runs away because that's how you don't look weird, apparently. Anyway, he runs away, and then the next few days, every time she shows up, he runs around. She starts getting a little bit annoyed and then kind of just tracks him down. What the fuck is going on? Hun. And at one point, after a few days of this going on, she decides, you know what, fuck it. I'm gonna corner him because this is the sane route of people who don't know each other. Corner strangers. She does, finds him and says, what's going on? He's like, okay. My name is 𝐻𝑒𝓃𝓉𝒶𝒾. I'm no, he doesn't do that, but he essentially just explains the entirety of his whole lucky pervert powers, and she's like, I don't know, sounds a little sus to me. And then she goes over and tries to get soda again. 2 for 2, by the way. 2 sodas, 2 bad experiences. It explodes, she falls on the floor, and then is like, okay, this is 2 for 2. I kind of believe you now. Do you have a shower? And he's like, yeah, you took a shower last time you were here. Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, forgot. And then goes over to the shower and gets herself a little bit cleaned up. The whole time, which she's saying, you know, I really appreciate you not telling about me being a pop star. And he's like, I don't have that many friends to tell. But okay. She's like, I love you. And he's like, I also have strong, non-threatening emotions towards you. And then she's like, I want to do something. He's like, I got $6 to my name. What do you want to do? Oh, she's like, sex. He's like, that's free. So, they get together almost immediately at scene number 1, with not immediately. It gets together at about the 1/3 mark at 9 minutes and 10 seconds and runs all the way to 13 minutes and 35 seconds. That's over 4 minutes long, and I gotta say, from doing nothing but 2-minute scenes this entire time, 4 minutes is so refreshing. Because there's not much going on in this, but it's just a nice, clean shower scene. Nothing big, nothing small, just palate cleanser of everything that's gone on. And I gotta say, I'm into it. It's a good balance. But then after getting out, she's like, you know, really glad I didn't have to leave this place because you're such a nice guy. And he's like, I'm a nice guy. Yeah, try not to blush. And then he's like, all right, I guess I should probably get back to work. Opens the door. The 2 co-workers that he slept with in the first episode are like, we heard absolutely everything. There is so small walls in this place that is probably paid minimum wage, so it's not constructed very well. We heard everything ever. Please don't do that again unless we're a part of it so everyone can hear. And he's like, you know, maybe we should get the idea of the childhood friend of the whole thing, the more innocent person in the group. And then she's like, give me that dick. And he's like, fine. So it leads naturally into scene number 2, or as I call it, scene Omega, because this thing is just straight up the rest of the episode. Oh, this bitch starts at 15 minutes and 35 seconds in, and then lasts until 27 minutes and 40 seconds. This bitch is 12 minutes and 5 seconds long. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're here to witness something that has only been done, I think, once or twice in my entire career. Beauty in its fullness. Because this bitch goes starting with, I'm going to focus on every single character in this entire thing individually, with each care, with each fetish, for each person across the board. Let's fucking go! And it's magnificent. All the characters going along. Fuck this whole thing of like, we run a store, none of that. We sex, customers can go fuck themselves. Because I'm gonna get fucked by this dude. And it's magnificent. Alright, at the end of the whole thing, it leads to him saying, hey, you know, it's weird now that I have 3 lovely helpers around me who can control the lucky pervert powers that I have going around me. And it's refreshing. His powers are essentially mitigated as the episode ends, leading into episode number 3, which we'll get to at a later date. And yeah, that has been Mankitsu Happening, episode 2. Personally, one of the best episodes in the series, if not the best, if not one of the best episodes of hentai I have seen in my life. You already know the score for this one. So, while we're here, let's go ahead and kick over to the 3 things that I always review in this. So, let's go ahead and cut over to that one picture that I always use. 3, 2, 1, let's go. At first, we're going to be talking about the animation. The animation, on par with that of the average anime. I gotta say, most slice of life anime are about as good as this. And that's coming high praise. Hey, I'd like to say personally that this is one of the better animated ones that I've seen. Nowhere near the Hunter anime that I watched a little bit ago. The Hunter hentai I watched a little bit ago. I forget the name of it. I need to remember the English name for it. But you guys know the one. It's where it goes mostly normal through the first episode all the way to the end when they realize the elf chick is a futa, and it gets amazing for most people, but then all the other people who aren't admitting that they have that fetish get really homophobic in the comments. But nonetheless, it's amazing. This is great animation, but not on the same level as that. Let's just say this is Devil is a Part-Timer when it could have been Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Great and appreciated animation, but not the highest quality. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10 for being competent enough to be passable in an anime, but not competent enough to be up there with, Studio Trigger. And now, the characters. Characters, they're fun and distinct. Their designs, perfect. Their designs are like if DDLC characters just had jizz on them. And I gotta say, didn't know I needed that. Did not know that I needed that. There's the quiet purple-haired chick with huge booba. There's the kind of submissive little child character that's your childhood friend with also short pinker hair. There, with big booba. Then there is the... Would she be... No, I don't think she... I think this chick that was just added in, I wrote her name down. Otana. I think Otana, the pop idol character, is kind of the Monica stand-in. And I'm pretty okay with that. Yeah, I like the comparison because they're both some of the better girls in the series, and I love both of them, even though Monica's a crazy bitch. But she's adorable. So, I'm going to go ahead and give the characters on this a 9 out of 10 for the fact that they're just distinct enough to where I see one, I know it's that one, I'm happy to see what's going to be with that one because I know what's going to come from that one. The personality and what they're going to be into in the next scene. which brings us into what we are here to talk about. The 9 out of 10 characters and the plot, which is unrecognizably a 10 out of 10 for the sheer fact of the length of the second episode, the well-doing of the first scene that leads into the palate cleansing ways of the final one of the second scene that just washes the board clean of anything around it. I love this scene. I come back to this scene every damn time. And I can safely say this is a 10 out of 10. It uses its length to show off the fact that it has tags for a reason, and it does it well. If any of you have seen this and you're like, I'll see what this one's about. Well, second episode. Second episode, it's a masterpiece. I would highly recommend it. This is good shit, and I would recommend it solidly. So overall, this series, at least episode 2, gets a 9 out of 10, mathematically speaking. Rewatchable? Yes. Perfect? No. Mostly because if this were an episode 3 and they had about one more episode to build up everything that they've been doing, then it would have been a 10 out of 10 across the board. But as of now, it is a 9 out of 10 for the sheer fact that its animation isn't on par with the rest of it. If it were, let's say, overflow animation in Mankitsu happening, be perfect across the board. I would have no complaints. But as of now, 9 out of 10, but one of those 9 out of 10s you come back to, and you have a hard time debating whether or not it's worthy of a 9 out of 10, because you know it's much better. This is going to be one of those things. The best way that I've heard it described is that Mankitsu happening is one of the big shonen of hentai. Almost everybody has seen it, and everybody recommends it highly for the fact that it's just weird enough in certain spots that it's not vanilla, but it has the vanilla tag, so you can get into it from any starting or ending position. And I gotta say, it's a fair assumption. So, now that we're at the end of this, I'd like to go ahead and do my little outro spiel. I notice a lot of these videos are 10 minutes and longer. Trust me, I'm not doing that for the ads. I don't get paid for any of these things. So, these just happen to be 10 minutes or so long. I'm seriously not trying for it to be this long. But I appreciate the fact that everybody is here. And for the 100 plus of you that are here, that still blows my fucking mind. I appreciate every one of you. If I have 900,000 subs and I keep getting plus one, that plus one is going to be the same level of dopamine that hit when I got my second subscriber. It's going to be the same level of dopamine that's going to hit when I get my 1,000th subscriber. It's going to be the same level of dopamine that hits when I get my final subscriber. And then it's all downhill from there. Thank you to each and every one of you. I appreciate the fuck out of each and every one of you for permitting me to do the dumb things that I do. Thank you from the bottom of my little tiny red-haired heart. Yeah, you bet you didn't know I had red hair. So, thank you to everyone who's been here from the start. Thank you to everybody who's been here since yesterday. Thank you, every one of you. So, let's go ahead and end it for today, because I will be making more videos, but I am going to be taking a little bit of a break. I'm going on a vacation up north of where I live currently to visit some family for a wedding. So I will be back. I'll see if I can get another video out tomorrow, but I think that's going to be the last one for about a week. 5 days, maybe. So, thank you once again. And remember, have a nice day. Don't be a dick. There's too many of them. And wash your fucking hands. I have been the doctor. Peace.